I don't even know how to start. So Joshua Moon had a bad day the other day because he lost his second case against me. He notoriously lost his first case against me a while back, and then he appealed that, but he had a collateral second case, and he lost that the other day. It was funny. I didn't make a huge deal out of it. I was going to talk more about it, but I was talking about Preddy. Preddy is more relevant, stuff that needed to be talked about right now. So I didn't talk about it. And then today, they lost the appeal, which means I won the appeal, which means you lose, Josh. You lost because you're a loser who sits around diddling himself or whatever to the idea of other people's lives. And it's fine. You can do that, but it's never made you cool. It's never made you particularly likable. This is about how you lost badly, very badly. Every attempt you've tried, you stole money from people, promised them, you swore up and down that you would get this body cam footage. You'd get it. You're going to get it. It's going to come out. You're going to cackle and sit there and again, engage in some sort of self-pleasuring or whatever while you gleefully watched the cops raid my house as if it had anything to do with you at all. It never did. But you lost badly, real bad. Why'd you steal people's money? You realized that, like, I could have released parts of this thing. I could have done that. I could have, taken out some of the, some of the more private stuff that's involved. I could have done that. Now, like, I'm not gonna. I don't ever need to. And you'll never get to see it. You'll just be sitting there angry about it, seething in your little feud that you've had going ever since I just told you that, hey, like, you're so autistic and the people in your community are so autistic that sometimes you get into a game of like a circular telephone and you get facts wrong. And I would have told you this sooner, but like, I didn't know how wrong you sometimes got them because you were talking about other people. But once you started talking about me, and I was always very candid with you, when you started talking about me and you started saying things that were wrong all the time, I'm like, hey, something's going on here. Something's not right. Something's not clicking. And oh my gosh, these guys actually like they're self-citing, they're self-sourcing their information. So some person says something one time somewhere, and suddenly it has the potential to become a fact. Except it never does. It doesn't actually become a fact just because you say it over and over and over again. And all I did was try and tell you as a friend, like, hey, this is going on your site. Like, you used to have a little bit more standards, I thought, about it. I never asked you to take anything down. I never asked you to ban anyone. Never asked you to do any of that. You said I did. you said I did that. Oh, wait, no, that's correction. I did ask you to take something down. I asked you to take down the address of someone that was illegally followed and stalked on your website. That's it. I just said, hey, maybe don't do that, because it's a person who, isn't involved in anything, and following someone, from where they work to their home for the purposes of stalking and harassing them, like, might be a crime. It kind of depends on some circumstances. But in the past, Josh, you know what you would have called that? You would have called that gay, for someone going out and doing that. But now you think you're some sort of like weird alt journalist or something. You consider it field reporting. I don't know. People used to get thread banned and permanent banned from your site for trying to engage themselves in the lives of the people that they watched. You can sit and watch like you always have. You're like the internet's biggest cuckold. You just sit there all day watching. You can sit and watch. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into. No one's ever complained. I mean, people have complained about that. But you started to get involved. You started to touch the cow. Moo, mother. And you lost. You promised a bunch of people something that you were never going to be able to deliver. And anyone who looked at it at all knew that that was the outcome that was going to happen, including you, I think. I think you knew you were going to lose, which is funny, because why would you intentionally lose to me? You had nothing. You had to do nothing. All you had to do for me to my entire life up was nothing. And instead, you like went on a blood quest, like some sort of pustulant weirdo. But okay, you lost. Bad. Terribly bad. So bad that in 2 cases now, you've been told you can't win. And you can't win under any theory that you had. And that you lose. And because of res judicata, you can't try a different way. You f***ed up. You f***ed it all up. You lose. You're an idiot. If only there was someone there to tell you, hey, like, you're going to lose this. I know who you would have asked in the past. He would have told you you're going to lose. There was a time when you would have listened. You're a fat bitch. And I love it. I'm so happy right now. Pest. I don't control what other people say. Don't worry about it. Pest. The optics look bad. I'm not in control of what someone says. What do you want me to do about it? If someone says I'm going to pay for them to go to Vegas, I'm not paying for anybody to go to Vegas other than me. For the parts that I have to pay for, part of it will be covered by the Hackmania event. So like, other than that, you know, like, I don't have any plans to pay for anybody. I'm not aware of paying for anybody. If someone has implied that I'm going to pay for them, I don't believe that's the case. Sorry to disappoint, but my money is spoken for at present. Speaking of that, I also I no longer accept any DMs from anybody ever because apparently I am a groomer. That word, they diluted that one out pretty heavily. Apparently, I'm a known groomer because I had a relationship with one person one time. But okay, I got it. Who is an adult, by the way, by quite a bit. It's not like it's not like it was close. But we're not going to get into that either. It's just there's a bitter old man out there, very much frustrated that I spoke with someone and he doesn't know like what was said. Oh no, watch out. I'm going to talk to somebody. Like, come on. Here we go. Yeah. You're a pretty shitty groomer if she was an adult. Now, I met that woman when she was 28. Leave her alone. People have all sorts of shit to say about me, and that's fine. That's what I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But, you can leave other people out of it. That'd be great. That'd be cool. But I do like this notion that I'm an evil mastermind. Like, that's funny. I don't know what I'm actually accomplishing. Because sometimes I'm like, God, I need to just work. Like, if I just sit down and work, my life will be great. Even more than it is. Like, it'll be fantastic. But like, something's always getting in the way. Which is, that's just how life goes from time to time. For me, that's how life has gone for, 18 years. It's just what it is. That you have to deal with the things that you deal with in your life. And you deal with them in the way that you deal with them. You prioritize them in certain ways. I've always prioritized, making sure my kids get their activities done, and they get to the things they need to get to, and they get the things that they want and need and can use. And so that has always taken priority. And and after what happened with me and being separated from them for a time, it became a bigger priority. And I learned to say no to other things like doing a show or whatever, pushing through some stuff. When I wasn't sure, like if I wasn't 100% sure that they would be taken, that they would get their, I hate saying they would be taken care of, because I don't mean that they'd be like cared for or killed. Neither of those things were in question. So I just mean that their needs are met. Chris Griffin says, is April still around? No, April has not been around for well over a year. She's, I guess, right around a year. But she has moved on with her life. And she had done that. When I say she was still around a year ago, she wasn't like around. She had already moved on with her life. And it was just the last time I had significant contact with her was about a year ago. And that was because briefly she was living at a property that I owned and I was selling it. So I had to make sure she got her stuff out so that I could get rid of it. Okay. Anyway, I try not to talk about her too much because she's not involved in any of this stuff or in anything at all anymore. Like she's got her own life and doesn't need shit haunting her. Unfortunately, she's in this document just because she is. George Zimmerman says, what the hell is the Dabbleverse? The Dabbleverse is a collection of failed comedians trying to convince other failed comedians that they are more important than them. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's a group of failures arguing about like their own failure. They're comedians you've never heard of. They're comedians you can find doing, open mic nights on like a Tuesday in a metro area near you, but predominantly around New York. And they somehow believe that that's like a career that is laudable. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they like fish for sandwiches out of garbage cans generally. But yeah, they tend to show, like, YouTube is this beautiful thing because everything aside, YouTube does provide a rather objective view of success. Not the total success of your life or anything, but when you're able to attract an audience, you do. And when you're not, you don't. And the Dabbleverse has exposed several people to the fact that they were never actually able to attract and maintain an audience, that there was some artifice, some artificial implement bringing people to their show. Maybe they were part of a network or on a radio station or whatever. And so it's actually the brand that was bringing the majority of the audience, because once the brand was gone or they're severed from it, their ability to maintain an audience after that plummeted. It turned out their stock was zero the whole time. We're talking going from having a regular show on Compound Media, which used to be owned by Anthony Cumia, it was bought by Gavin McGinnis, having a regular show and being paid a pretty significant salary, to not being able to live stream to more than 8 people. We're talking single digit live streams, which is crazy. And like, I don't mean to shit on small streams. Like, people have to start somewhere, but it's supposed to be a start. It's supposed to be a start, and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. And if you do it as a hobby, who cares? If you're doing it as a profession and you've been doing it for years and your live stream number is 8, then strongly consider anything else, like sample Tylenol or something. But go sell blood and semen. Whatever you have to do. And you can sell that to homeless people really, really quickly. Like, you don't even have to go into a clinic if you're efficient. See, this guy's got it. Joe Schmo says, wow, even you get more viewers and you're completely retarded. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know. But the Dabbleverse is a group of failed comedians who literally just talk about whatever glory days they had doing stand-up comedy at clubs that, like, just needed background noise. Like, they needed someone to fill space, fill the air, and hopefully keep a few people at the bar. This isn't Billy Joel, the piano man, doing these sets. Like, they're not going to see these people. There's people are there, and people at the bar are there, and they're like, oh, what, there's like a thing tonight? Okay, cool. That's them. That's the Dabbleverse. And they all talk at each other and about each other or whatever all the time. And if you've never heard of it, it's because no one's heard of any of them. They don't do anything. They all talk like fake mafia guys. They're like, oh, I'm going to get you. I'm coming after you. It's the most weird gay kayfabe shit I've ever seen. Because it's like, what are you going to do? Like, tell a stand-up joke about them? Like, I don't get how you're coming after them. Like, no one's out there murdering families or anything. Like, come on, let's go, lazies. But they talk. They're like, you don't want to fuck with me. You don't. Why? What are you gonna do? None of these people have anything either. That's the crazy thing. They don't have, like, they were never successful. They don't have significant assets to take. So it's like, you can't sue them, really. I mean, you can, but it'd be a waste of your time and money. And they don't have reputations to destroy because no one knows who they are. But they really go after each other really hard, and it's kind of funny. Like, you can see why some of them could have been comedians, like, maybe if they had buckled down and tried, or I don't know, maybe been funnier. I'm not sure.